Council. Can we have roll call, please? Oops, I just lost my quorum. Sorry about that, folks. I have no excuse for my colleagues. I know. A minute ago, but who's the same as know? Okay, we have a quorum now. Let's get underway. And again, I have no excuses for my colleagues. We'll have to start meetings at 7 o'clock so that we can actually start them at 8:30. So shame on them, but we're going to proceed anyway. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Baines. Councilmember Brand. Councilmember Brandow. Councilmember Olivier. Councilmember Quintero. Councilmember Soria. Council President Capriolio.
I'm here as well. Thank you. Next is the invocation. Good morning, sir. Welcome to our Fresno City Council meeting, and we appreciate your presence and your ability to start our meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll all stand and we'll remain standing for the pledge.
Thank you. Let's pray. In the book of Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, saith the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope." Lord, we come this morning with great joy before you. We acknowledge that we all are humble servants before an awesome and mighty God. This morning, God, we ask for wisdom so that our decisions will be free from bias and be a blessing to your people and not a burden on your people. We ask for patience to wait for your clarity and conviction before we plot our course. Finally, Lord, we ask for the peace that passes all understanding. So while we deal with chaos, we will be calm. When we receive criticism, we will be compassionate. And when we suffer calamity, we will offer consolation. We ask that you would bless these proceedings and the honorable men and women you've led to be leaders of this great city. It's in the name of our Savior, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. That was wonderful and very nice. Thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
No changes to the agenda.
There a motion
I'm sorry. Hold on. I do have plenty of changes to the agenda, and you should have a copy as well. There's an add-on proclamation, Alzheimer and Brain Awareness Month by Council President Capriolio. And on item 1J, 1J as in Jack, it should read the actions pertaining to emergency solution grant funding. Number one, approve the funding to Margie Mason Center in the amount of not to exceed $238,927. Number two, approve funding to Fresno Economic Opportunities Commission in an amount not to exceed $60,994. And number three, approve funding to West Care, California in the amount not to exceed $213,94. Basically, we're changing recommended approval of to approve in each subsection. Then on file 1L, as in Larry, the effective date of the appointment for Kane Christensen to the Housing Authority needs to be changed from July 1st, 2016 to August 1st, 2016. And finally, in the change to the hearing schedule for the July 28th, 2016, 10 a.m. hearing regarding the vacation of a portion of West Spruce Avenue formerly Josephine Avenue and West Elgin Avenue, District 2, has been changed to July 28, 2016 at 10:15 a.m., number 1. Those are all the changes I have.
The last one was which item?
It's actually on the hearing schedule on the last page of the agenda, where it gives you future hearing dates. And it's for the July 28, 2016, 10 a.m. hearing. It's being changed to 10:15, number 1.
Okay, thank you very much. Do I have a motion to approve the amended agenda? Motion by Member Sawyer, seconded by me. All those in favor? Passes 6-0 with Member Baines absent. Are there any changes to the minutes of June 21st and June 23rd, 2016?
Change.
Okay, is there a motion to approve those minutes on those, that is June 21st and the 23rd? Motion by Member Sawyer, thank you very much. Seconded by Member Brand. All those in favor? Opposed? Passes 6-0 with Member Baines absent. Council member reports and comments. Member Sawyer.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to report on the Central Unified School District swim program, which we just approved the contract in our last council meeting, but I did want to report that for the first week, which was this past week, the swim lessons were filled to capacity, so it's a really good news. There's a lot of reception from the community, very excited. Children out there west of the 99, so we just wanted to make sure folks knew that I want to thank my colleagues for supporting because obviously the need was there, and it's creating a lot of positive buzz in the community, so thank you.
Thank you, Member Quintero.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning. Okay. City Manager, I got a couple of things. I'm starting to receive calls from the neighborhood between Kings Canyon and Tulare and First and Cedar. The concern is that I guess there's city crews out there doing some cleanups and all that type of thing and tree trimming, but they've been told that they're moving the garbage pickup from the alleys to the streets, and the concern is there was no public hearing, no community meetings, anything like that, and at least they'd like to be informed on what's going on. And then the concern is that the age of the trees and being so big, is particularly on Huntington Boulevard. I don't know what type of loaders you would use to pick up the trash other than the ones that you normally see picking it up, where the trash would hit the branches. And so anyway, they're really concerned because, like I said, they just feel they're being blindsided. So I don't know if usually the Jackson School is where they hold their community meetings, which was right in the center of that neighborhood. If you might be able to arrange something that they can do a notification. And the other part is the Public Works has now started tearing up the street over on Heaton Avenue by Fresno Pacific to redo the street, and thank you for that. They're really doing a great job. However, if they can contact the director or assistant director at Twilight Haven, they have a lot of parking along the Heaton Avenue side of the street in their they're at Winery in Heaton, and so they just like to know what the timelines are and everything. They're happy that it's getting done, but they just need timelines and having somebody meet with them. They said they've called a few times and haven't gotten any response. So thank you very much, appreciate it, and they're thankful for the street getting rebuilt.
Thank you, Member Quintero. Screen is clear. Scott, I wanted to thank you and your team this morning. I recently received a really nice email and wanted to compliment you and your team. And I'm going to quote this. The crew that recently replaced the surface of that portion of 6th Street, they should be commended for their excellent and expedient way they completed those repairs. Makes me proud to be a Fresnon, and that's by Mr. Dubrow. So thanks for making me look good and for making our city look good. But compliments to your team. Next, I had the opportunity to attend a ribbon-cutting ceremony at Granville's Home of Hope. That's located in District 4 at Shields and Fowler. It's a beautiful development out there, and the Assemi family and the vendors that donated it, I wanted to thank them publicly. And this Home of Hope was introduced 11 years ago, and to raise money for those less fortunate than us. And this is, again, their 11th year. And they highlight various organizations. It rotates each year, so various organizations get recognition, and we hope that with that familiarity of those particular charities that people will become involved with them and help them evolve with their fundraising efforts. So the charities that will benefit are Community Food Bank, Poverello House, Assistance League, Foundation for Central Schools, Hines Hospice, Foundation for Clovis Schools. In my district, the Renaissance Scholars at Fresno State, which helps young foster children once they reach adulthood, it's difficult to get into the university scene. So this Renaissance Scholars program will steer promising students toward the university. Also, a beneficiary is a Foundation for Sanger Schools, EPU Children's Center, which is in my district, and Fresno Police Chaplaincy Program. So more information, www.gvhomeofhope.com. And last year they raised $475,000. So it's $100 a ticket. Of course, the more tickets you buy, the better the opportunity to win this $375,000 home that's absolutely gorgeous and faces the park that's already established in that neighborhood, including a tot lot. So thank you very much. Those are my comments. We'll move on to the consent calendar. Would any council member like to pull any item from the consent calendar for discussion at 11 a.m.? Seeing none, would any member of the public? Member Soria.
I'd like to pull item 1I.
Okay, anything else?
Will be it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council member wish to pull an item? Seeing none, we'll take it to the public. Anyone in the public like to comment on our consent calendar or any item contained on the consent calendar? Now's your opportunity. Seeing none, we'll bring it back up here. Screen is clear. Is there a motion to approve the balance of the consent calendar? Thank you. Member Sawyer makes a motion, seconded by Member Brand. Thank you very much. All those in favor? Opposed? Passes 6-0 with Member Baines absent. Okay. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, team, for being here. Good to see you guys. Take care. Next will be General Administration. We'll start with item 2A, recycled water transmission main. And this an opportunity for staff presentation. Good morning, sir. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm Kevin Norgard from the Department of Public Utilities Wastewater Management Division. The item before you is the last piece of the design for the recycled water system. And if you remember correctly, we came about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we came with the Northwest Distribution Pipeline. Then we came with the Northeast Distribution Pipeline. This contract is $2 million, and it is for the 2 pump stations that will go with those 2 sections of pipe, and it is to boost the pressure so that there's enough pressure in the system to feed the users. And there's also a little section of distribution pipeline around Bullard and Fruit. I don't have anything else to add. If you have any questions, I'll be available.
Thank you very much. Any member of the public wish to come forward and discuss this item? This is your opportunity. Seeing none, back to the dais. Member Brandau.
Thank you, Council President. I'm just continuing my my excitement to see this project get completed all the way out to North Fresno. I posted a little video about the recycled water that we're using out in the fountain in front of City Hall, and a lot of people were really happy to see that we're starting to use recycled water for a lot of projects around the city. So I'm going to make a motion to approve.
We have a motion, second by Member Brand. All those in favor? Opposed? Passes 6-0 with Member Baines absent. Next is item 2B, actions pertaining to sewer rehabilitation on Church Avenue. To be or not to be is the question.
I can just stand up here? Yeah. To be or not to be, yeah. So we talked about fairly clean water. Now we're going to talk about dirty water. This is the sewer system, and it's a rehabilitation project it's in Church, and it's between Fruit and MLK. It's about a mile long. It's 30-inch pipe that was put in 1917, and this project is to rehabilitate it. It's the adoption of the CEQA findings and also to award a contract to SAK for $1.7 million. I'll be available for questions.
Thank you again. Any member of the community wish to come forward and comment on this item? If you do want to do that, please come up, give us your name and address. Okay, seeing none, back to the dais. Screen is clear. Do we have a motion on item 2B? Motion by Member Soria. I'll second it. All those in favor? Opposed? Passes 6-0. Member Baines absent. Moving on to item 2C, actions pertaining to the adoption of the 2015 wastewater plan update. Good to see you again.
Last time, I promise. This item is for the adoption of the wastewater collection system master plan. And every 5 or so years, maybe 10, we go through and we evaluate the entire sewer system for capacity, with current capacity and then future capacity. And then this time, we made a big change where we took out Sega and we updated it to provide the capacity for the new general plan. So we actually had this done about a year before the general plan was finalized, so we had to wait. That's why it was done in 2015, and we're just adopting it now. We had to wait for the environmental work to be done. So it works on the capacities that we have now, projected capacities all the way out through the general plan. We created a dynamic model that allows us to look at any spot in town, and if a developer says we want to build this development here, will the sewer handle it? We can run a model in about 10 minutes and tell whether or not the sewer will work with that. We also do condition assessment of the sewer system based on age and videos that we've done, and we build our capital improvement projects for about 5 years out of that. In fact, the item before this was one of those from the previous master plan. We define the design parameters for the sewer, and we make sure that all of the system is up to speed. And I think that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'll be available.
Thank you very much. Again, is there anyone in the public that wishes to come forward and discuss this item? This is the perfect opportunity. Seeing none, back up here. Thank you. Motion by Member Olivier, second by Member Brand. All those in favor? Opposed? Again, passes 6-0 with Member Baines absent. Thank you very much. Okay, my favorite item, 2D. Approve an update incentive program for scheduled domestic and international air service for Fresno Yosemite International Airport. Good morning.
Good morning, Council President, Council Kevin Michael, Director of Aviation. This update to the incentive program is we're doing this to stay current with the industry, and what it's really doing is sending a message that we're willing to share the risk with the airlines when they desire to start new service or enhance existing service. There's a substantial amount of risk an airline has, because if they were to start new service in some form in our market, what they're going to be doing is saying, we think we can do better in your market, Fresno, than some other market somewhere else. And so they'd be pulling that aircraft, they'd be pulling that crew out of someplace else that perhaps is underperforming and bring it into our market. So there's a substantial amount of dollars associated with that startup, a substantial amount of dollars in marketing, and the FAA allows airports to incentivize them in the form of waiving landing fees, for example, for a defined period of time, and at least help support some of the marketing efforts. So what we're doing is sending a message to the airlines that we're willing to share this risk to enhance the service in our area, which, by the way, supports the community and the region's ongoing efforts to attract business and to grow business in our area. So it's kind of a supplement to that. It does enhance competition. I mean, to the extent that we're able to increase our service, whether it's additional airlines to the same markets or it's to new markets, the more competition we have, it is probably the single most powerful tool available to an airport to help moderate airfares. I mean, because it's a market-driven business, it's free market enterprise. The airlines are going to get what they're going to get based on what the market is able to give. But when you have competition, that's when you're able to moderate some of the airfares, and that's extremely important to us. It is self-funded, no general fund dollars. When I say self-funded, we get the dollars back because with the additional passengers that would occur, there's additional revenue to the airport, and this is calculated to be 100% self-funded, which is good. It's also important to note that there's no guarantees. I mean, this is a tool, and we go out and we market, and I will tell you, I know there was the Channel 24 did a little spot on this the other night, and the following morning it went national. There are national organizations for airports, and they pick up these buzzwords, and so it's kind of some unexpected exposure, which is really good for us. And again, I think I mentioned this a few seconds ago, but it does complement what I think we as a community and region are trying to do with regard to growing our economy and growing our business. So with that, I'll leave it to you folks if you have any questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Kevin. And again, you and your team are on top of it. You're really helping out our community and our city. And thanks again. I'm proud to have you in my district. We'll go out to the public. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to come forward and comment on this item? This is the opportunity. Seeing none, back up here, Member Brandow.
All right. Hey, Kevin. So, Kevin, I need a few more details. What are the incentives exactly? And one thing you said that really helped me out is this doesn't impact the general fund at all. Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
The incentives occur in two ways. One, for a defined period, it could be a 1 year or a maximum of 2 year, and that's dictated by FAA regulation, that we would waive landing fees. Now, landing fees are something that we get only if they're here. So if they're not here, and we're not losing money by, we're not getting it anyway if they're not here. So we help offset some of their costs by waiving the landing fees, not terminal rents and other things that we get from them, but the landing fees themselves, which again, the FAA allows for a defined period of time. And once that time is up, that's it. They're on their own. And the idea here is that they are self-sufficient. They're not dependent on additional dollars once the incentive is up. And to be honest, the airlines, they are not going to arbitrarily say, I'm going to start some new flights in Fresno because you have an incentive program. No, there's a lot that goes behind the decision, and they do their own economic modeling that will tell them we can succeed here, with or without the incentive program, but the incentive program really helps them get on their feet in this market. More importantly than, or just as, and probably more importantly than the landing fee piece, is the marketing piece. We're allowed to help them with marketing. Now, we don't pay them directly, but they have a substantial amount of marketing efforts that they use to grow a new market, and so they may contract with third party for advertising and other things, and so we would pay not the airline but pay the bills that have already been paid to that third party. So there's some marketing effort. Now, specifically on the dollar amounts, it depends on if they are targeting a city that really complements us. For example, we know high-profile cities for us are like a Chicago, and Atlanta, Minneapolis, Houston, for example. they can receive up to $300,000. It's a one-time. It doesn't, once it's used up, it's used up, in marketing funds. If they want to go to some other city that we don't currently serve, it's a maximum of $200,000. And these are maxes. It could be less. It depends on the level of service that they are committing to.
Right.
And on the back end of this, if for some reason it doesn't work, people don't use the service and they pull out before the 1 year or 2 year contract that we enter in with them, they pay every dollar back to us.
Okay.
They pay 100% back to us. So when I say self-funding, whatever dollars we have actually paid out, we recover that back by that incremental revenue we receive with the extra passenger load. For example, every passenger that flies out of the airport, it's about plus or minus $10. Mm-hmm. So we do a calculation that says, these planes are going to be conservatively maybe 75% filled, and depending on the size of the plane and the number of seats, we can run the math and say, we think we're going to generate X dollars of income, and we just make sure the incentive level stays at or below that number, and that's where we get the self-funded from. The reality is our planes are over 90% full. So we kind of have this built-in conservative approach to make sure that we're really not going to be out any money. And, of course, it doesn't impact the general fund at all.
Okay. And do you think there's any risk that they come in for a 1 or 2 year contract, and then soon as the incentive program falls away, then they bail on the city of Fresno?
Yeah, we always have that risk. Can it happen? Yes, it can happen. But again, this is a substantial investment by the airline. The small amount of money, when I say small, for us it's not small, but the amount of money that we pay them is relatively small compared to the cost that they actually incur by starting new service. So they have a substantial due diligence process they go through that says, you know what, yeah, we think we can do this Fresno thing, let's do it. And for example, let's say we incentivize an airline with a waiver of landing fees for 1 year, $150,000 of marketing, and after 1 year, I mean, they may spend $800,000 to make this happen. So we're just doing a piece of this. But they are in the business of succeeding. Mm-hmm. And so they are not going to make a decision lightly. It's not going to be based on this incentive program solely to say, let's start a Fresno market. So there's a lot more that goes behind it. So if they pull out, say, a year or two later after the incentive program sunsets, mm-hmm. It's because of other factors. In other words, the program is not designed to be a subsidy. It's not designed to be something that says we can be successful as long as we have this incentive. No, it's only for startup costs and it's only for marketing. Once they get going, it's really up to the community to embrace it, to use it, as to whether or not that's going to succeed.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much, Ken.
Thank you. Member Brand?
Hi, Kevin. A lot of the questions were asked by Member Brandow, but who are we trying to get in here? What's our goal?
Anybody that can come to destinations we want. I will tell you right now we have a very good mix of airlines. We've got the Delta, the United, American, Alaska, Allegiant, of course, and our 2 international carriers. We have 3 of the big 4s at our airport. The fourth biggie, if you will, left in the industry today is Southwest, which we do not have. And that question always comes up no matter what, and so I might as well just head it straight on here. We would love to have Southwest here, and we talk to them on a regular basis. And I will tell you this, aside from Cincinnati, which is a little bit of an anomaly, and I've got some staff here that's got some very interesting insights as to why Cincinnati is an anomaly, we are the largest market in Southwest's route structure that is not served by Southwest in the United States. The last conversation I had with Southwest is they know that. Their focus over the next year is modifying their fleets in terms of retiring older aircraft and bringing in new aircraft. And in 2018, their next round of focus, and stepping back, the last number of years, their focus has been on international, Caribbean, leisure markets, Mexico. That's in good shape with them. They're focusing on retooling their fleets And in 2018, they're saying their focus, and they're telling the world this, is California. And so that bodes well for us, obviously. So we're constantly talking to.
So what connections are we trying to get? What cities?
Well, Southwest, they're going to evaluate our market, and what's interesting is about a year ago I talked to them, and they asked me that very same question, and my suggestion was, well, I said, what works for you? I said, what works for us? We'd love to see Denver, Vegas, Phoenix. We'd love to see 2 or 3 destinations that when either you get there and you do business there, you visit there, or you get there and you go on to other destinations within their route structure. And they seem to concur that those made logical senses to them. So for them, Denver would be a great match. We have United to Denver, and like I said, competition on the same route is what helps control airfares. And that's why suggesting some of the same routes that we already have to not only expand opportunities, but to create competition on the same routes.
What about the standard L.A. and San Francisco? Those would that be more competition there too?
I'm not sure if Southwest would go to shorter haul as those markets. That there's a lot of discussions that will have to occur. I do know specific to the Bay Area and the Southern California region, that's one of the most, if not, I'm looking back at my staff here, if not the most profitable routes in the United States for airlines in general. And Southwest is a big player in that market, and they're constantly jockeying for slots and spots at these airports, SoCal to Bay Area, back and forth all day long. These airlines really pay attention to what the others are doing.
I know we had the Hawaiian flight for a while, that or maybe a Chicago a direct flight, or maybe even Washington, D.C. Are those even possibilities?
It may be Chicago. I mean, that's another option that we talked about, have been talking to Southwest about. Should they be interested here is Midway, Chicago. They do fly out of that airport, not O'Hare. They're well aware of our market to Chicago, and I think I've mentioned this before. Aside from our nonstop destinations, Chicago is our number one destination.
Okay, and that's one of the busiest airports in the world, right?
Yeah.
So you're offering the waiving the landing fees. Any other incentives?
Landing fee waivers for a defined amount of time. 1, 2, support in marketing. Up to $300,000, depending on how many flights a day, how big the aircraft, and where they're going. So
the airport enterprise puts commercials out promoting flights and so on, right, on their behalf?
They do the marketing, and they contract with.
You reimburse them then?
Well, we don't reimburse the airline directly, but we reimburse whoever it is that is providing that service to the airline.
Right. Is there any additional cost to the existing passengers that go on, like on their fees?
No additional cost whatsoever.
Okay, so this is strictly an incentive program from the Airport Enterprise Department designed to bring in more traffic. So I can see the cost benefit, right? Exactly. Once you get here, you get more traffic, and really the impression that we make if people coming to that airport is really, really huge. Okay, thank you, Kevin. I'm okay with this.
Thank you, Member Brandt. Member Soria.
Thank you, Council President. Kevin, I just have a couple questions. Some of the other questions I had have been given an answer, but just can you maybe talk about a couple examples? I think you may have noted some of that in the report in terms of some of the benefits that we've seen from these incentives.
Yeah, I mean, locally?
Yes.
I would say that the San Diego service in 2011 benefited from this. I think that's and then the 2 international carriers to Guadalajara also in 2011 benefited from this. The short-lived Allegiant flights to Honolulu benefited from our policy as well, and that was in 2012. I say short-lived; they've cut that out pretty much altogether. So, and they actually ended up reimbursing us for the marketing dollars that we gave them because they pulled out of the Honolulu market, not only in Fresno but all on the West Coast before their commitment to do it for 2 full years.
Okay.
But those are the recent examples.
Okay, perfect. And as part of the marketing, they have to meet that 2-year requirement. Otherwise, they would be subject to reimbursement, as I'm hearing from
Yes.
the Honolulu example.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. The other thing that I just had a question was regarding how do you determine the destinations we want? How do you guys do that analysis or identify those?
Yeah, in 2015, well, we get data all the time about where people go. And so we know out of all the people who fly out of our airport worldwide, we know where they go. We've got zip code data to the far reaches of the planet. But in 2015, we conducted a fairly robust air service development study, which we involved the Chamber of Commerce and other large business entities throughout the community and the region. And what came out of that study was somewhat not surprising, but validated some of our thinking, was Chicago, Atlanta, Houston, Minneapolis, and Southern California other than LAX. Those are and so in this incentive program, we specifically targeted those destinations as a little higher incentive level to tell sending airlines the message. Now, the airlines know this. For example, Chicago is a United hub. Denver's a United hub. They know it's a very strong market to Chicago, and they know people go there on American, they go there on United and other airlines.
And so we get this data because when you look at the flights, the connecting flights leading to the final destination, is that how you guys make that determination?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
we get that data, and then we talk to folks locally. We also talk to visitors and convention bureaus in other communities, for example, most recently Orange County, just to get a sense of, it's not just the residents of our community and our region going somewhere, but who's coming in. It's a two-way street. And so, for example, we got information from Orange County about the visitation from Orange County into our region, which is substantial numbers, higher numbers than actually people from here go to Orange County. So we get information going both ways.
How do you capture data from folks that actually don't use the Fresno airport because they rather just drive to Oakland, to Sacramento, or to LA to avoid, and get
Right.
a nonstop flight? So how do you capture that data?
And what you're referring to is leakage. We call it leakage. And so through zip code data, ticket purchases through zip code data, if somebody's living, let's say, in Clovis or Oakhurst, and they're flying somewhere, we know through ticket sales, not just out of Fresno, but nationwide, we know at ticket sales, somebody who lives in Clovis bought a ticket to fly from LAX to New York. That means they drove. We know they didn't fly out of Fresno. We know this. And so that leakage, we call it leakage, where they're driving instead of flying out of our airport. We conducted that study also in late 2015. And actually, it's surprising data, and I thought the number was a lot higher, but 29% of the people who fly out of our area, our catchment area, let's say a 50-mile radius of the airport, 29% drive. So 71% use our airport. That's a really good number. In fact, and it's a significant number, and here's why. When I, for example, met with Southwest about 3 weeks ago, when I mentioned that data about who's driving out of here versus flying, that's when they picked up their pen and started writing. So what Southwest is going, 29% is driving out of our market to some other airport. They see that as opportunity to keep the people locally, get them flying out of our airport. That's the kind of data that they like to see when they analyze where they're going to go and decisions they're going to make.
And then lastly, I know that you brought up the Southwest issue. Is there anything that our council can do to help lure them to come to? Obviously, I know that they have to make, their own economic decisions, and but is there anything else that we could do?
Well, I would say yes.
Okay, what is that?
Now I got everybody's attention. Aside from us visiting and talking to them about what's going on in our community and our region and trying to just keep them informed and try and this incentive program is part of that process. Aside from that, When Southwest it's more serious about the California market, and we know, again, aside from Cincinnati, we are the largest unserved market in their structure, in the nation. The next step in that process is what they call a corporate headquarter meeting by airport staff. Well, that meeting isn't just show up in their office and talk about Fresno. It's a meeting where we actually put a business case together. We show them how they can be successful in our community. And so there's a package we put together. And as part of that package, we would be seeking letters of support. And let me stop myself right here. We are hopeful we can take that next step early 2017. But as part of this package, we will be seeking letters of support from the Chamber, from Fresno State, from the medical industry, from the farming industry, from City Council, from the Mayor's office, on and on and on, and the county, and show as a community-wide effort, you can be successful here, you need to come. So that's part of a package that we will be working on late this year, early next year. But that's how potentially this body can help.
Okay, well, I'd be happy to lead that effort to try to get all of our council members to sign on to something so that we can try to get Southwest here. I would also just encourage you, I know that you said you talked to the Fresno Chamber. I just want to remind that there are other chambers, some of the Fresno Black Chamber, the 2 Hispanic chambers, the Hmong Chamber. So when we're looking at chambers, we're looking at all the chambers across the board for support.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to say one more thing about Southwest, since we're talking about Southwest. And I don't say this in a negative way, but what we have to be cognizant of is the fact that Southwest love to have them. If they said yes, we could accommodate them tomorrow. We could do it, right, physically at the airport. They have in the past gone into markets and they have fantastic airfares, and you can get to a lot of places. And they have actually driven out other service, meaning they've priced themselves so low. Then you have other airlines that were in this market, and they say, we can't compete. They can hang with them for a year and a half, and they can't compete. And they go away. And then all of a sudden, Southwest then brings their airfares back up, and in some cases higher than it was before they showed up. Now, I'm not saying that'll happen here. I think our advantage is we have a very diverse and robust air service at our airport, much better than your average small airport. So I think we can weather that. I think we have such a diversity here that Southwest would complement what we've got and not drive everybody away. And that's a good position to be in.
Okay. So if you can just keep me informed, and I'd be happy to bring forward a letter of support so that my council colleagues can sign to move that forward. So thank you again for the work that you guys are doing. Yeah. Those are all the questions I had in comment.
Thank you, Member Soria. Actually, Kevin and I are working on that. Your assistance would be appreciated, but it is my district, and we're working hard on that. So thanks for offering to help. Kevin, again, thanks. You've touched everything that we could possibly think of in this competitive market that we're in with FYI. And I know you guys are doing a great job, and I truly appreciate that. And just as a side note, I don't know how your team manages to accommodate like 450 people. Last night, when the honor flight returned, as they do about every 2 or 3 months, it's a beautiful event. It's well organized. I don't know how your team puts it together so effectively, but congratulations again on the honor flight and taking care of our veterans, which we all love to do. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
I would like to hear from, I can assure you that Fresno State would participate in the support that we're talking about in the spring of 2017. So we'll make sure we have that as well as the other items you need. But we need to hear from the chamber. So Nathan Alonso is here, and he can give us his opinion on the chamber's support of our efforts to expand our industry.
Wonderful. Well, good morning, President Capriolio, members of the council. My name is Nathan Alonso. I'm the Government Affairs Manager for the Fresno Chamber of Commerce, and on behalf of our organization and its members, we stand here in support of this incentive package. Our organization voted to support this plan because it's a careful and well thought out approach in helping us ensure that we are a more attractive destination for more flights, all while ensuring that we're marketing ourselves in a way that does not increase costs for the airport or its customers. Our residents and businesses need more options when it comes to flying in and out of the airport in their community, instead of having Valley residents drive to a major city to catch a flight, and we should be capturing those dollars that they're spending here locally. We believe that this incentive plan, which was brought before our Government Affairs Council, was well thought out, and we are proud to support it. Let's help our folks fly out and to spend their dollars here locally instead of getting in a car and doing it in a major city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I assume we could get a letter of support for our spring 2017 program as well. We'll talk more about that. Thank you. Okay, the screen is clear, so we'll have an opportunity to vote now. All those in favor, say aye. And those opposed. Passes 6-0, Member Baines absent. I'm
We
sorry.
didn't have a motion in a second.
I'm sorry. I get excited about your programs and all the things you do. Want to rush it along and get us back over to the airport. So I'll make the motion to approve this agenda item. Second by Member Soria. All those in favor? Opposed? Now passes 6-0. Congratulations. Thanks again. Item 2E, Fresno Youth Commission report from the city clerk.
Council President and Council, we have LJ here from the Youth Leadership Institute to give you all an update on the newly formed Fresno Youth Commission. And we also, I believe, have a couple of the commissioners here as well.
Yes, we do. From my district, Marissa Vang is here. Good morning. Good to see you. And another commissioner as well. So welcome to our meeting this morning. And welcome and good morning to you, LJ. And the floor is yours.
Good morning, City Council, and thank you for having me come today. Also, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity you're giving 16 amazing young people from Fresno to create positive change that will build towards a beautiful future for our city. Since the swearing-in ceremony, I'm just going to slide through here of our commissioners. Not too fast. Yes, they are amazing people. Since the swearing-in ceremony in April, Youth Leadership Institute have been diligent in making sure that the commissioners of the Youth Commission are receiving quality, capacity-building skills to lead, collaborate, and create change for the young people and adults in our city. And I'd like to just give you a couple training updates on what we've been up to, as well as go over our first public meeting and what our summer schedule is going to look like. So first up, we had our first training called Youth Leadership 101, which was held here in council chambers. And again, I would like to thank Council President Capriola's office for making the arrangements, as well as thank you, Councilmember Soria, for coming in and welcoming us warmly and spurring on our young people. Our first training was great. It was a good opportunity to create a space of respect among one another and a lot of excitement. The next training we did was a Strength Finders assessment. The Strength Finders is a tool that we utilize at Youth Leadership Institute to help young people kind of discover their different skills and strengths and how to best use them within an organizational context. And so it's proven to be very helpful for our different youth that we work with. And so we decided to do that with the commissioners as well. We were also invited by the BHC, or Building Healthy Communities, for a city budget training where they invited other members of the community to kind of have a better understanding of how the city budget works and how allocations are spread out and resources are used. And so it was very helpful for the Youth Commission to have a better idea, as well as know what's going on within the community. We also, next up, had a public speaking training. The name is a little long. We're working on it. But it's we did a public speaking training on engaging decision makers about issues that impact young people. And so we had scenarios made up for the young people to see how things work. And so we know it's going to come around a lot. And so it was a very helpful training. We had a training on Robert's Rule of Order, which was very helpful. Another scenario training that we did at the YLI office, and we had a good time with that. It was fun, and so which is what we like to do. And then lastly, more recently, this past Tuesday, we had a city driving tour where we loaded up our commissioners in two rental vans, and we just did a historical tour of the downtown corridor as well as the neighboring communities, just to have a better holistic idea of like the city of Fresno. We had an incredible debrief, asking questions like, why didn't we go out to my district? And which was the point. To really go in looking at our city, as well as have this curiosity of what's inside our different districts and what are the issues. In our debrief, we did come up with the understandings that there are going to be more issues along the lines. So to kind of take a dip into what is happening in the city of Fresno from a youth perspective, kind of brought up a lot of issues that we feel that we're going to jump in towards. So the hope is that we'll dive into more conversations with the different districts, engaging with other folks in the community as well as council members to collaborate strongly on creating some positive and sustainable change in the future. My favorite update is our first public meeting. We had it on June 21st, right next door, or down the hall. We were all very excited, a little nervous, but very much excited. The commission is very thankful for the support from the city clerk's office providing advice and guidance throughout the meeting. And I just want to share a couple of the items that we discussed while we were there. First up is we have our selection of chairs. The commissioners that were nominated among the commission were presented a 1-minute speech to present to their peers, and these are the new appointed officers, and I'm going to show that in front of you. At chair is Commissioner Jason Phillips, who represents the mayor's office. First vice chair is Commissioner Matthew Saavedra from District 6. Second vice chair, Commissioner Jovan Mendez from District 3. Secretary, Commissioner Chandler Balajanian from District 2, who's here today. And Sergeant of Arms, Commissioner Gabriel Murillo from District 7. During this meeting, we elected them. It was very exciting that we're moving forward and creating some structure within the commission. And so as part of the structure that's being developed, we also have a bylaws committee that we also created. So our bylaws committee, currently right now, they're working on updating the bylaws, making them more fit to the young people that is there, making some adjustments, as well as taking recommendations from within the commission as well. So they are taking ownership, which is really exciting, which is exactly what this is designed for. So in the committee, we have Commissioner Marissa Vang from District 4, who's here today, Commissioner Yvette Flores from District 5, and Commissioner Jovan Mendez from District 3. Now, the way our bylaws committee is working right now, we have these core young people that are taking the lead, but they're also taking suggestions from other commissioners to give their input. Some of the other items we found that are still being worked on or being amended are our bylaws, like I said, as well as we're working on a design for a Youth Commission polo shirt. We kind of got in a little debate. Is it going to be a polo? Is it going to be a T-shirt? What's it going to be? But it's good. This is great. The young people are collaborating. They're working together. And the idea behind that is if our commissioners are going out to the public, whether in events, shadowing some of you, we thought it'd be a good add-on to have some type of uniform for the public to recognize that or identify that they're commissioners. And we're also designing our own mission and vision right now to be more specific to what we're doing. In addition to the Youth Commission and their development as well as their capacity, this is really exciting. We've been invited to have seats with two networks, one being the Civic Engagement Task Force, where they invited us really just to come check them out and see what they're doing. And then it turned into an opportunity to come see some of the youth that they've been working with at the CART program. Earlier in May, there was like a policy presentation, and so they invited the Youth Commission to come and share a little bit with what they're doing. And to add on to that, the Fresno Business Council, they wanted to add, they intentionally changed their policy in order to have a youth seat a part of that board. So that's very exciting that we're seeing a movement in Fresno's leadership to really acknowledge and include a youth voice. In my closing remarks, or just our summer schedule, just to let you all know what's going on. The month of July, we're taking a break just to rest and to recharge and to prepare for an exciting year that's going to kick back in August. Some of them are going to be participating with Youth Leadership Institute's Youth Leadership Retreat on August 3rd through 4th up in Camp Sierra near Shaver Lake area. And our next meeting is going to be in August, our public meeting, August 23rd from 5:30 to 7:30. As you know, you're always invited. We would love for you to be present and cheer on your commissioners. They have such an exciting fire in each of them. They have great vision. They all challenge and complement each other really well. And with that, thank you.
Thank you very much, LJ, for your leadership, and congratulations to the new commissioners, and of course, congratulations to the bylaw committee and to our members right here in our meeting today. So thank you guys very much. We'll go to the public. Anyone in the public wish to comment on this item, please come forward. Okay, seeing none, back to the council, and it would be Member Soria.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, LJ, for being here and giving us an update. I know that you guys have only been running for a few months, but very excited about the work that you guys have already accomplished and how organized you guys are. So thank you so much. I'm just excited to see the work that will come from these commissioners. I know that I've personally have met all of them the first day that you guys were here at City Hall. It is exciting to see that from last year's budget when we first worked with the mayor's office to allocate the funding, and then to today really see that we do have 16 young people from across the city, being essentially building the next generation of leadership. So I'm very, very excited. Anything that I can do to continue to help you guys and support you. I know that you guys are going to do tremendous work and bring ideas to the council that maybe we hadn't thought of, so that we can really improve our neighborhoods. And I'd actually like to give an opportunity to the young commissioners that are here to maybe share, a little bit and give us a little bit of feedback. I know that they've been here, they've been selected for a short period of time, but if you guys can just kind of give us some of your personal highlights.
Sure thing. So part of District 4.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Yeah. Marissa Vang from District 4. So a little bit about my experience so far. It's been quite amazing to be given the opportunity to serve and also be a part of the decision-making process. I believe this is a really great start to creating future leaders, to creating future council members. And I know that a lot of youth seem to be disconnected with politics, and possibly a lot of youth don't really want to vote. So this is the great start to make sure that we have young people voting, young people using their voice, and making sure that we get a diverse group of people to make sure that their voice are heard. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Did the other commissioner want to come up? Chandler? Chandler. I think you're from District 2.
Hi, I'm Chandler Balajanian, District 2, and I just want to thank you for just kind of spearheading the Youth Commission and kind of bringing it to life, and also Councilmember Randall for choosing me as well. It's a great opportunity, and I'm very humbled to have been chosen to be on the Youth Commission, and I can't wait to see, I can't wait for everyone to see and for you guys to see what we have in store, and also for being chosen to be the secretary for the Youth Commission, so I'm very excited, and thank you.
Thank you, young ladies, for taking on the challenge and being involved in your community, because this is the way that we can all together transform our city, is by working together, both the young and the adults. And so I want to commend you guys for the efforts. I know that this takes up time of your spare time, so it is a time commitment, and so I'm very proud of all of you and very excited to continue to work with the YLI and all the commissioners. I know that probably in a few years, many of the commissioners will probably be taking our seats. So very excited for that. And again, thank you.
Member Randall.
Council President. And LJ, I've got a question for you, if you don't mind coming back. And Chandler, nice to see you again. Marissa, thanks for coming today. It's great to hear from all of you. And LJ, is it LJ?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. LJ, the one section, it said you began a training on the issues that impact young people, right? So what was that like?
Let me remember my notes.
Sure.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about like things that impact young people. I think in the beginning we were talking about the generals on the application piece. I'll just go back to that. We were looking at the main areas that would impact, whether it's the economy, society, education, and recreation. Those are the like 4 general areas. When we're looking at issues that impact young people, you're talking about the decision-making piece? Yes. So what we did there in that training, we looked at general ways that, in some cases, how young people are perceived. So what we have with YLI, we have this ladder to kind of like measures how young people and adults collaborate together. So the very base of this ladder, it's called Hart's ladder, is like tokenism. And so that's where like youth are just being used for show, not really elevating their voice. And so that training was meant to like, how do we, as young people and adults, elevate ourselves to where we're partners in creating decisions or creating positive change, which is the dream. But we understand in given circumstances that we have our experiences that kind of dictate the way that we interact with each other. The intent in that of training is to see and to understand that we need to work towards like, how do we better understand the people that we're working with? And a lot of time spent with like building up relationships, building up trust, having safety, whether it's physical or emotional safety in the context that we work in. Because like in any given situation, if we're in a conversation with our young people, people would be unsafe if the lights weren't working, for example, or if someone was like raising their voice in a room. No one's going to feel emotionally safe. And so the point being is understanding like in situations that our young people are going to be in is to know like who they're going to be communicating with, but best, how do we collaborate and work together well?
Love it. I appreciate it. You kind of answered my question. I was just, when you were going over the list of things that you've done since you just started, that one caught my eye, and I want to kind of hear a little bit more about that one. But appreciate it. And
absolutely.
Chandler, congratulations on becoming the secretary. Thanks for the presentation today.
Absolutely.
And we look forward to hearing more from you in the upcoming months.
I forgot to add one more thing. We're in the process, technically I'm in the process of creating bi-monthly newsletters for each of your offices. So what was reported here today will be in the first issue come August. So hopefully there'll be more pictures, but that's a way of like keeping you all up to date outside of just mere emails or phone conversations, but those will be accessible to folks in the community as well.
Member Olivier.
Yes, LJ, I just had a couple of quick questions for you. I really enjoyed our meeting, and I really enjoyed meeting the District 7 commissioners in my office about, I guess it was probably about 2-3 months ago now. Time really flies. The one thing that I heard that concerned me a little bit is that you went to the Building Healthy Communities for budget training. In my opinion, and I just talked to the city manager, next year, if you want, the city manager himself or his designee can do a budget presentation to you and to our commission, only because it's my personal opinion. I mean, it's not even opinion. Building Healthy Communities and also the California Endowment, of course, has a very pointed agenda of how they think the money in this organization should be spent, and I think that includes Let me just say that it would be important to me that the commissioners hear about the city budget. If you're going to go to BHC, then that's okay. The California Endowment doesn't know the budget like the city staff does, and so I would be happy to provide or set up a time for you to meet with our budget professionals and not with a community group that actually has an axe to grind on this organization. And that's nowhere is that more true than where they, this whole parks thing and Parks for All and the whole thing. They have been very political and in my opinion, have been very hostile to to what we're trying to do here with limited resources. So I would just caution our organization, our youth commission, to when dealing with organizations that have an axe to grind and an agenda that you provide both sides to our commissioners, so that way they can make an informed decision and actually have the ability to discern what's true and what's not true, and may just be I don't want to see our kids getting politically manipulated, is basically what I'm saying. So anything that you need from me, I'm happy to set up trainings from this organization to make sure that our kids get both sides. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Member Brand.
Oh, thank you guys for what you do. And I want to thank Esmeralda Soria and Oliver Baines for the great idea to have a youth commission to really engage people, because most young people just don't get involved, and you see these interviews on the street on who's your president, who's your governor. People don't even know, not only youth, but probably half the population. Anyway, I appreciate what you're doing. I think it's a great thing, and if you want to go over the budget, I'll be glad to offer my services next year, whether I'm here or not. So anyway,
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Member Soria.
I just wanted to add, just to not discourage and to make sure that it's clear, you guys can meet, I think, with BHC, but I think that there is staff here to provide some of the more general and even detailed. What I would also suggest, we have department heads, and depending on the issues that are important that you guys point out as priority, say, for example, if it is parks, we have a director of parks, and I'm sure that they would be happy to come out and do a presentation to the youth to understand what types of programming are being funded, how much monies are going into parks, parks maintenance versus recreational programs. So I think that there's enough staff work through the clerk's office or through any of our offices, and I think, and even the mayor's office, and I think they'd be happy to help you guys and make sure that you guys have the information that you guys need to make whatever decisions you guys will be making over the course of the time. So thank you.
Thank you, Council Member.
Member Rudd. I'm sorry, city manager.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't mean to demote you.
Does that tell it? LJ, I just want to offer, and when the commission comes back in August, I would love an opportunity to, we'll host a breakfast or a luncheon. For those of you who may not, at a period of my career, I was either assistant city manager and a city manager and a parks director. And these folks who have worked with me know I have a very special place here for what our Parks Department does, but also there are other parts of this organization that might be able to lend itself some support for whatever goals and strategies that you develop. But I would love an opportunity to sit down with the commission and provide you some of the things that I've seen in the community, and where maybe we can partner and collaborate.
Absolutely.
Not just within the building. I think the partnership that we've recently struck with Fresno Unified and Central Unified is indicative of how, as a community, we might be able to come at these issues in a more holistic fashion than just coming at it from one organization or one particular resource. So I would, when you get back, if you can give my office a call.
Absolutely.
Again, I'd love to do a lunch or a breakfast and meet with the commission and spend some time with them and hear their thoughts and ideas.
When our meetings kick back in August, the goal is to speak to the heads of every department that we can, to hear their perspective. So thank you very much. Appreciate that.
And interestingly enough, after you've been around this building for 40 years, I've been a department head for pretty much every department other than maybe Public Works and a few others. The police department, fire department. But I've been a CIO, I've been a director of transportation, parks director, assistant. I've got a pretty good handle on what and how this building works. So I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bruce Rudd has a fantastic resume. He can just about answer any question you folks may have at any time, at any place. Member Olivier is next.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank Member Soria for her comments as well, and also Member Rudd for that. And basically, what we're all saying in a very unified voice is that we're here to help you and we're here to serve you. Just to illustrate kind of what I was talking about the last time I spoke, I guess I was kind of speaking in riddles and talked in a circle. But if you look back to the recent debate that we had publicly over the funding for parks, and I believe that took place in 2015. The BHC, funded by the California Endowment, was making the case to the public that the city council, the big bad city council, didn't care about parks and recreation for kids. It was their agenda item for the city of Fresno to construct a regional park in the southeast part of the city. The construction costs alone of that park, and then the ongoing maintenance, would decimate the general fund of this city. It would absolutely decimate the city. Everyone on this dais right now always votes for parks, always supports parks maintenance. We just did the parks master plan. Parks are very important to us. However, that's why it concerns going to this particular group or other groups with such an agenda concerns me, because just that act of constructing that park would put us in an awful position where we would public safety would be decimated, and police and fire and our general fund would be absolutely decimated just by that one act. And so that particular group was spearheading this project. And it would concern me that their budget presentation might be skewed, whereas the one that you're going to get here from our city's professional staff would just be, hey, look, here's what we've got, and here's the way that this council and this administration have chosen to spend it. So just in future, please, we're speaking in a unified voice. We're so happy to have you in the place you're at right now. We're happy to have our commissioners on board and really get this thing started. So that's really what I was trying to say. Mm-hmm. And our cell phone numbers are available to you to call anytime with questions. So we're happy to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I join in our gratitude to you and your team and all the commissioners and all the people behind the scenes. This isn't an easy task, but you're doing a great job and coming on strong. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
And I just want to tell Marissa, if she'll tell Lady, my seat's open in 2020, so I don't know how you two are going to work that out, but only one of you can represent. So look forward to the bright future that you folks have brought to the council. So thank you very much. Okay. Do we have a motion on this item? Motion by Member Olivier.
President, there's no action. It was just an update.
Okay. It didn't say workshop, but I got it. Well, I think you realize you have unanimous support, I guess is what I'm trying to work toward. Okay, we'll go to our 10 o'clock item. Hearing to consider rezone application in District 3. Good morning, Mr. Tackett. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good morning, Council Member Capriolio, other council members. Will Tackett, Development and Resource Management Department. Staff proposes no changes to its report or recommendations at this time. We do have a presentation available if the council so desires, but are otherwise available to field any questions the council may have. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We'll appreciate that. Any member of the public wish to come forward and address this item? This is the perfect opportunity. Please come forward. If you will give us your name and your address, you'll have 3 minutes to address this topic.
Hi, my name is Jeff Calloway. I'm with Lennar Homes, 8080 North Palm, I believe. I'm barely off probation with them, so. Thanks for hearing this. I'd like to thank staff for getting this thing before you and this project for the rezone and the annexation. And if you have any questions, I'd like to help.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad you're on their team. Okay, anyone else in the public wish to come forward? This is the opportunity. Okay, seeing none, back here to the council. The screen is clear. Do we have a motion to approve? Member Olivier makes the motion, seconded by Member Brand. All those in favor? And those opposed? Passes 6-0 with Member Baines absent. Congratulations, Will and Mike. Thank you very much. Okay, that pretty much takes care of our agenda today. At 11 a.m., we will have our contested consent calendar hearing, and then we'll proceed to ceremonial, certificate of recognition for Cable Links construction, proclamation of Pastor Vicky Healy Day in the city of Fresno, proclamation honoring Kaiser Permanente's Volunteer Appreciation Day, a PG&E check to the city of Fresno. That's going to be great. And a proclamation for the month of July as a City of Fresno Parks and Recreation Month. And finally, a proclamation for the month of June as Alzheimer's Brain and Awareness Month. So look forward to seeing everyone at 11 o'clock, and we'll adjourn until that moment.
There's no closed session. You could call unscheduled communication.
Thank you. I was just looking for my cards. We have two cards. One is from Mary Esther Correa. If she is available or outside our doors where she can hear our meeting here, please come forward, join us, and you'll have an opportunity to speak to us. I don't see her here, so we'll move on to the next card, and that's Tamara Alcotts. I think I saw her this morning, and maybe we'll wait a minute for her. She might be out in the lobby. Tamara Alcotts, if you're within listening distance, this is your opportunity to come in and address us under unscheduled communication. Okay, we've waited a substantial period of time, so we'll adjourn at this time and reconvene at 11 a.m. sharp. And we'll start with our ceremonial presentations. And first up is the City Manager's Office, and they have a certificate of recognition for Cable Links Construction, and that's a company that's in District 4, the best district in the city.
Well, good morning. We're going to take a little moment to recognize and celebrate the success of it's a homegrown company. It started off in about 1996 with you and your partner. Came out of the Marine Corps and saw this new emerging industry that involved fiber optics and telecommunications and all this stuff that now we all come to rely on in a lot of ways. And they've grown this company to about 35 employees, $10 million in gross sales, and they provide services throughout the globe. So they've done an amazing job in taking advantage of, at the time, a risky kind of event because it was emerging technology, and turned it into a local success. About 35 employees who make a very good living at what they do, and shows what happens when people just get a vision, have an idea, and then stick to it, and what can come out of that dedication to that goal and that vision. So, Dan, congratulations on behalf of the mayor, as well as the city council. I know you are in District 4, so we won't hold that against you, but we'd like to hear your thoughts before I hand the mic over to the council president.
Okay. I appreciate it so much, Council President and members. It wasn't ever our intentions to even start a company like this. It was just something that kind of happened. But we certainly appreciate the blessings that we've received in starting a company and then growing it the way we have. One of the things that I'm especially proud of is the employees that we have are from Fresno. And when we do travel to Texas or Okinawa or wherever we go to, those are the employees that travel and then they come back again. So it's nice to be able to employ our own homegrown people here. And to even take it a step further, we committed ourselves years ago to continue to improve whatever we could in Fresno, and our company funds a program called To Know Him Ministries, which is one of our employees that does the homeless ministries here in Fresno. And he started downtown and now has his own church, and we're really pleased with what he's done with the homeless. And we know for a fact that he's taking some of those homeless, put them in an apartment, and now they're even employed, and now they're on his staff working with his ministry. So it's one of those things that we just wanted to continue to do to improve Fresno whichever way we can, and we're going to continue to do so. So thank you very much for the recognition.
Thank you. It's well deserved. And I wanted to add my congratulations from District 4. And you mentioned the homeless efforts from a member of your team. And I wanted to acknowledge your efforts on behalf of the veterans of the city of Fresno. You are the voice of the veterans. And it's great. And the Veterans Day Parade, which is the largest parade west of the Mississippi, the entire country, and you are the voice of that, as well as all the great things you do for the veterans. So not only do you have a locally grown, organic business, you give back to the community in so many ways, and we appreciate you. Keep it up. We need you.
It's our privilege and our honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Yvonne, if you could read the proclamation, and then we will do the photo op while you're doing that. But before we do, why don't we give them a big round of applause?
Certificate of recognition presented to Cable Links Construction Group Incorporated in recognition of your 20 years of investment in the city of Fresno. Your commitment to growing and creating jobs locally and providing opportunities for veterans and others with barriers to employment is a true testament to your vision of integrity, professionalism, and loyalty. Signed by the mayor.
Thank you, City Manager. I think on the next item up, I don't have the agenda in front of me. So today is a great day for one individual and a sad day for the rest of us. Because I see all the heads going up and down. You know what I'm talking about. So, but she's never going to leave us. Her inspiration, her spirit, all the things she brings to our community will never, ever go away. So I'd like to ask Pastor Vicki Healy to come up here and join me. Round of applause. I'm going to probably get a little emotional here, so I've got to rely on my script because she is the original ground force, boots on the ground in District 4 and in the El Dorado Park area. And for those that don't know, her inspiration comes from core values and her ministry, and those are rooted in a deep belief in Jesus Christ. And from that deep commitment you have made personally, you've brought that forward to the entire community, and it's incredible. She is instrumental in starting the El Dorado Park Community Development Corporation. She worked hard to create a beautiful and safe neighborhood and part of the District 4 community in general. And that takes the residents of El Dorado Park not only to have a better life, but more importantly to flourish. And her leadership and inspiration through Wesley Church, the members of Wesley Church, this has come to pass in that neighborhood. So it's amazing. You are amazing. I have so much more here. I want to thank you for anchoring and being the anchor partner in that renewal of our neighborhoods, and particularly El Dorado Park. And, it's amazing. You are present at all times in all places. I don't know how you do it with the energy level and with your team and the organization that you have. I mean, we have movies in the park. You're there handing out popcorn and greeting people. We do ice cream socials. You're there. Everything we do, what's coming in August, the National Night Out. There you go. I kind of forgot. Boom, you got it. So, again, we're going to miss you, not only by your congregation, by me, by your staff, by my staff, more importantly, the children, the families of that community, and the partners that you've created and brought in to help District 4 and the El Dorado Park neighborhood revitalization. So I could go on and on and on, you know that, and I won't because I'm getting a little choky here. So thank you for your dedication for the neighborhood, for my district, and for all the great things you do. You're such an inspiration to all of us, and your legacy will continue long after I'm gone, and hopefully you have a longer life than me, to enjoy the fruits of that. So I'd like to have you say a few words, if you would.
Well, I wouldn't be standing here if it were not for many, many of you who have also caught that vision of making El Dorado Park a better, safer place for people to live. Everyone knows at Wesley that one of our mottos is the answer to how is yes. That means if you say, can we say, we'll figure it out. And we've been able to do all of this because of partnerships, like with the city, coming, say, can we meet at your church? Of course you can. We'll figure it out. And Fresno State, and Stone Soup, and Walters Elementary School, and Building Neighborhood Capacity Program, everything that's come our way is because the people that you see in front of you have been willing to say yes with me, and then we'll figure it out after that. And again, I couldn't have done it without all of these people who are here to support me today. Staff, church members, and my family.
You are amazing. Round of applause, please. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Look at that. Standing ovation. Well deserved. Thank you. Thank you all so much. There you go. Actions speak louder than words. That's what you've always told me. So there you go. Madam Clerk, are you ready to proceed with the proclamation? This is a very special day. It's going to be Pastor Vicki Healy Day in the entire city of Fresno. And proclamation, please.
Whereas Vicki Healy, pastor of Wesley United Methodist Church, has dedicated her life and career to sharing messages of love and compassion through her service in the church and throughout the greater community. And whereas prior to serving as the pastor at Wesley Church, Vicki Healy graduated from Rocky Mountain College in Billings, Montana, and Pacific School of Religion in Berkeley, California, and has been a United Methodist pastor since 1972. And whereas Pastor Healy has served 4 appointments in the Northern California, Nevada area, including Pollard Valley, Willits and Round Valley, Millbrae, and Kerman. She also served as district supervisor of Fresno District of the United Methodist Church from 1999 to 2007. And whereas Pastor Healy came to Wesley Church on July 1st, 2007, and with her leadership, the church went on to become an anchor partner for the El Dorado neighborhood and has made significant strides in addressing the needs of El Dorado residents. And whereas Pastor Healy was a founding member of the El Dorado Park Community Development Corporation, and she has continued to demonstrate her commitment to furthering their mission, which is to create a beautiful and safe place for the residents of El Dorado Park to live and flourish. And whereas Pastor Healy has been instrumental in implementing various programs in El Dorado Park, including Base Camp, a weekly community dinner, and the Tuesday morning Peace and Justice Cafe, and the Pink Cow Thrift Store. During her time as pastor at Wesley, the church became the site for El Dorado Park's Boys and Girls Club, a Kaboom playground, and a nourishing community garden. And whereas Pastor Vicki Healy will retire on June 30th after nearly 44 years with the United Methodist Church and over 8 years of commendable dedication to the Wesley United Methodist Church and the El Dorado Park community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, Mayor Ashley Swearingen, and the Fresno City Council members do hereby honor and recognize Pastor Vicki Healy and commend her for her tireless work and unwavering commitment, recognizing that such great achievements come with extraordinary efforts. Be it further resolved that we, Mayor Ashley Swearingen, and the Fresno City Council members do hereby proclaim June 30th, 2016 to be Pastor Vicki Healy Day in the city of Fresno.
Congratulations, well deserved. Absolutely. We're not done yet. One little side note, I got to say this, that the program is ongoing. So right now I think we're having breakfast for 25 children at least every day. We're growing, and 50 for lunch. So they just keep going and going, and thanks for the information. I would invite the larger family down here, but I don't think we have enough room. But if your family would like to come down here, and Mr. Healy, come on up here, please. This is welcome. And your daughters and whoever, yeah, grandchildren. Come on up. Come on up.
And my grandchildren.
Please come up. We'll do a photo op, and then we'll beautiful smiles on the children.
One more. Okay.
What's next on the ceremony, if you would announce that?
Volunteer Appreciation Day, Kaiser.
Very good. Next ceremony will be presented by the next president of the City Council. He's got big shoes to follow, I'll tell you that. District 7, Councilmember Clinton Olivier.
Thank you. Let's have the team from Kaiser Permanente come on up here and stand with me. Hi, welcome. Welcome. Hey, welcome. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Dr. Amy Simbri from Kaiser Selma.
Hi, I'm Serap Trojan, Community and Government Relations for Kaiser.
The reason why these good folks are up here right now, obviously on council days, we always recognize people who do so much for our community. These are our heroes that really keep us going and dedicate so much of their time that they don't have to, but they do. And it's wonderful that they do, because folks do so much for our community. I know that many of you probably already know about what happened out at Somerset Apartments in central Fresno last year. This was the apartment building that folks went without gas for, I think, over a month, just over a month. And, you know, so many of their needs were addressed, just in terms of basic needs. The city went out there, we responded, the owner ultimately responded, got the gas turned back on. I know Southern Baptist Disaster Services, Red Cross were out there actually feeding people and working to get the gas back on so that they could have heat. In the meantime, they gave out space heaters, they gave out electric blankets, they gave out blankets. So just addressing the basic needs. Well, I got a call from Dr. Simbre and from Sarah over at Kaiser and said, well, what's being done about the kids? Lots of children out there, their basic needs addressed, but what about just wanting to play? Across the street from Somerset Apartments is a nonprofit organization, a faith-based organization known as FIRM, Fresno Interdenominational Refugee Ministry. Obviously, the overwhelming majority of people who live out at Somerset Apartments are recent immigrants from Laos. Some of them are Hmong, some are Lao, some from the Philippines. So it's a refugee community. And so what the folks at Kaiser said was, hey, we want to partner with a group called Kaboom. It's a nonprofit that goes around the country setting up, building playgrounds. We want to partner with Kaboom, and we want to do this for the people at Firm across the street from Somerset Apartments. I said, well, absolutely. I didn't do anything except bring folks together, put people in touch with one another, and Kaiser and Kaboom went to Firm, and they built a playground, a lovely playground, a beautiful playground for the people who live there. And really anyone who wants to go play, it's not restricted to Somerset Apartments tenants, it's anybody from the neighborhood who needs a place to play. Obviously that's something that my council colleagues and city manager were always trying to find a way to open up a school grounds or to build a new park or to dedicate more money, because kids in the city of Fresno always looking for a place to play, and we don't want them in an alley or in a street. So thank you so much for coming up so big for us. I went out there. They had an opening ceremony. Kaboom does things quick. They know exactly what they're doing. They went out there. They did an opening ceremony. And when I came back after lunch, there was a playground where there once was just grass. And so thank you to Kaiser for paying for this. Thank you to Kaiser for providing the human resources and the human capital that we needed to get this thing built in just a few hours. And so it was really something to see. There's a video. Did we have could we play the video? We should have played the video. But you know what? I will tell you what the video looks like. It's a bunch of people. They come out, then they speed up the video because they build a playground really, really quick. And so there you know what it is. Let's have our city clerk read this, and then we're going to hear from Dr. Simbre about actually this program, because it's fantastic. It was such a blessing to have in Central Fresno because there really is a need. And so, City Clerk, can you read the proclamation, and then we'll hear from our friends that did this for us.
Whereas Kaiser Permanente partnered with nonprofits Kaboom and Fresno Interdenominational Refugee Ministry Firm to build a safe place for children to play. Whereas about 100 Kaiser Permanente Fresno employees and physicians joined with other community and neighborhood volunteers on April 23rd to build an outdoor play space in Central Fresno. And whereas the playground design was based on children's drawings during a design day in February. And whereas Kaiser Permanente funded the project and will also fund the building of 2 additional play spaces in other Central Valley communities. And whereas Kaiser Permanente Fresno Community Benefit provides grants and investments under 4 categories: access to health care, healthy eating, active living, HEAL, prevention and management of asthma and diabetes. And whereas Kaiser Permanente is committed to shining a light on the parks as a powerful player in the public health. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, Mayor Ashley Swearingen, and the Fresno City Council members do hereby proclaim June 30th, 2016 to be Kaiser Permanente Volunteer Appreciation Day in the city of Fresno.
And that's yours to keep. And it was nice to have Pastor Healy here and share her day on the same day as the volunteer, because there's so many things that we can't do at the city because we're a government entity and we have limited resources, and we have to prioritize some things over other things. Sometimes that's very painful. That's happening not just at the city, municipal level, but at the county, at the state, at the federal level. And there's so much that the government can't do, and the government leaves people behind. And sometimes that's very painful. And that's why it's so important that the church is there, and the church steps up, and the church steps into the breach and fills that void that we leave. And also nonprofits like Kaboom, and also organizations that step up and say, there should be a park here, and you know what? They did it. And we stepped out of the way, and we made the permit process really easy and got out of the way. And so now we have a park where once there was nothing. So let's hear from Dr. Simbre and then from Serap as well.
Good morning. I'm really very happy to be here, and it's my pleasure and honor to represent Kaiser. Because I'm a pediatrician, when they asked me to go and build the playground, I had no idea what my role would be. But then I realized it was for kids, and that's my passion. And when we met with the kids, they built their dream. They drew what they wanted, and then the families came together, put it all together in a design, and then Kaboom comes in and makes this happen together with Firm. What was truly remarkable was on that day, there were like 100 Kaiser employees and their kids, teenagers who you can't even wake up in the morning, And then there were grandparents who were building this. It looks like Lego pieces that are huge, and you put them together and you problem solve together. And then Firm comes up with the wonderful food, and everybody kind of shares, and everybody comes together and build this thing, and it's magical. So it's just a testament that if people come together in the community, great things can happen. So I'm proud to be part of an organization that's committed to serving the community.
And there's also an adult playground too out at Firm that they built. Can you talk to us about that? There's a monkey bars for adults and stuff to do.
Yeah, it's a fitness place for adults. It's divided into two. That 2/3 of it is slides and swings and sets for the kids. Then 1/3 of it is like bench presses and things for the adults. While waiting for the kids, they can get healthy too.
All right, sir.
I just wanted to say thank you to Councilmember Olivier, the rest of the council, as well as the mayor for the recognition. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Next up is a presentation from PG&E to the city of Fresno. So if Manuel, would you join me, and Ann and your team would please come down? So there are many exciting things taking place today, and I hear PG&E has a very important presentation. And Manuel, you want to tell us about it and give us the insight on that particular item?
Sure. Thank you, Councilman. Well, PG&E has been a wonderful community partner, but I really think a lot of the credit is due to Ann Cluse. Ann works for PG&E. She's really taking care of the city of Fresno, and her passion for this community and being able to to find what the community needs and see how she can get the resources from PG&E to assist us and help us has just been tremendous. Later on today, we're going to be celebrating Parks Month and park superheroes, and to us, Ann is the superhero. It's because of her that the city has a city-wide Movies in the Park program. Originally, we had Movies in the Park over at Eaton Plaza. She approached me with the idea of having Movies in the Park in each one of our council districts during the summer. So that program came through. She's also helped us with our jobs program. Whenever we need help, we go to Ann, and she can come up with solutions for really making the Fresno community a better place. So, Ann, we really love you, and we appreciate what you and PG&E does for us.
Yes, thank you so much. You may have a few words for us.
Well, thank you. I could tell you that these are my superheroes. Here's some of the faces of PG&E. There's 2,300 of us PG&Eers here that serve Fresno. And in addition to all the great fun things I get to do for the city, City of Fresno can be kind of high maintenance sometimes too. Love y'all, but so when I get the calls, these are some of the team, the folks that I call. And I tell you, I couldn't do it, well, none of us could do it without each other, so I'm really glad that they're here with me to show, the real face of PG&E. And yeah, we do have a big check, and the big check inspired me to do some big picture and a little bit of research. So I did some research because I'm like, what does this really mean? Because, a lot of this contributions and the time put in predates me. It's back when I was still with the City of Fresno. And so when I did some homework, the City of Fresno cooling grants that you guys have applied for and PG&E has answered the call, total to date with this check is $196,000 is what PG&E has contributed to the Parks Department. And then also I said, this is all about summer program support. What else have we done for the parks? And when I looked, it was an additional on top of the $196,000. It was another $126,000 that PG&E has invested in the Parks Department alone. That doesn't include Public Works or trees or First Steps Home. This was just for the Parks Department. So that brings the total up to about $322,000 in the last decade. So in addition to that, we're also proud to tell you that since the first of the year, from January to April, PG&E volunteers, we wear what I call the blue Smurf shirts, and we show up to do volunteer hours. We've done, in the Fresno division, 25,000 hours of community service from January to April this year. So that's how, there's more to come. And so, that's the community pride that PG&E has. And, when I was reading the Fresno Bee this week, and I got all warm and fuzzy. Now, normally when we read the Fresno Bee, we don't naturally get warm and fuzzy all the time. But this particular case I did, because I was reading about what does the community cooling center really mean. And some of the folks that were talking was Janet Aguilar and another guy by the name of Robert Johnson and his brother Chinook. We're talking about the community centers and what the community centers and the cooling centers mean to them. And it came all back around that all of the volunteer hours that we put in, this is our community too. And so it just really made us proud. So I want to go ahead and give you the big check as well.
We were looking forward to that.
This summer's installment.
For the first of many. And before you go, I'd like to pass the mic to each one of these wonderful volunteers. Just give us your name and what you do.
Good morning. I'm Joe Cummins. I'm the Superintendent of Gas Operations.
James Rolfe, Supervisor, Fresno Contact Center.
Manuel Molden.
Manuel Molinetto, Parks Director.
Ann Clush, I do your government and public relations.
Carrie Shackelford, Director's Assistant in Public Affairs.
Evelyn Escalera, Corporate Relation.
Lisa Bechtel, Human Resources.
Trish Williams, Fresno Contact Center, your 1-800 number.
And I'm Cheryl Marcelli McLean, Division Ops Specialist. I'm the assistant to the leader of this division here in Fresno. She's in Jamaica, or else she would be here.
Oh. Yes, and remember, everybody, you call 811 before you dig. It's a big, August 11th is going to be 811 day, and Joe is the gas superintendent, really doesn't want anybody hitting his gas lines. And he was out at Somerset as well, so we're here to tell you, call 811.
You know, Anna, we have for your wonderful company a certificate of recognition. It says, in honor of your commitment to supporting the City of Fresno cooling centers, thank you for your ongoing efforts to further enriching the lives of children and families by ensuring that they have a cool environment to play and thrive, especially during Fresno's sizzling summers. Thank you so much for what you do. And there's Ann. Ann. Hey, Ann. Don't go far. We don't want you to feel left out. So, on behalf of the City of Fresno, we have a certificate of appreciation for you in recognition of your outstanding support of the City of Fresno Parks Department. Thank you for your efforts and commitment to enriching the lives of children and families by ensuring that they have a cool environment for the summer. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. One of our volunteers mentioned Jamaica. Just for the record, Oliver Baines III is not here because he's in Jamaica, and he's going to send us some cables and emails and show us what a great time he's having. And he deserves that. I guess after weeks and weeks of budget hearings, we're kind of worn out, but we're here for you. We'll always be here for you. So next up is proclamation for the month of July as the City of Fresno Parks and Recreation Month, and that's the Mayor's Office, Member Soria, and I think I'll take part in this one too. Caped Crusader right here. You want to take the lead on that, Bruce?
I don't mind. Thank you. So this month recognizes Parks and Recreation Month, and as I said at the beginning of the meeting, for those of you who yeah, look at it. This is our wonderful park staff, and if you've ever had an opportunity to work with them, you know they do this because they're passionate for what they do. It isn't necessarily a job. These folks are working weekends when they don't have to. They put on special events. They are truly the place where a lot of our youth come to find some resemblance of stability. And in this community, in a lot of neighborhoods, their impact on those kids is going to be felt as they become young adults and later on. The council member asked me where my cape was. As I share with her, it's where it's always at. It's underneath the suit. I don't really need these. I just use them because I don't want anyone to know my true identity. But nevertheless, I'm not the superhero. You all in the Parks Department are the superheroes to a lot of kids. And for that, we're celebrating Parks and Rec Month. And congratulations. Now, Tony's not necessarily dressed up. He and I went on a ride one time, and that's exactly how he looked when he was riding. So he didn't really get dressed up. The bike is the Harley's out the door, right? Get kaboom. All right.
It's.
Oh, this must wait a minute. I think that's council member.
Is that for me?
Right. Is there one taller? I think that was the blonde. Emmanuel, come on down.
Yeah. I need a little.
Be in the middle.
Yeah.
You'll be in the middle.
Well, I'm also very proud to be here this afternoon. I love to always see the park staff in here at the city council. So I know Parks is in the house. Yeah. It is always amazing to have you guys here, to see the enthusiasm, the energy, the commitment that you guys have each and every day to service the city of Fresno, but most importantly to provide recreational activities and a great green space for all our community and the children. So again, thank you for the work that you guys do, for your unwavering commitment, which is exactly why we are strong supporters of what you guys do each and every day. I also want to recognize Manuel, who is our Parks Director. Irma, if you want to come up as well. I know that you're very instrumental, so let's give a round of applause for what she does as well. I love those stockings. We all know really that the value of our parks is not only a place where children and families get together that impact our health, but also the economic vitality of our community. And so again, I am excited to be here this afternoon to recognize the month of July as National Parks Month, National Parks and Recreation Month with all of you. And so if we want to read the proclamation, and then after the proclamation, I'd actually like the staff to come up here so we can all take a picture and really see the true faces of who is providing the services to our community and keeping our parks running.
Whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of the city of Fresno to establish and maintain the quality of life in our neighborhoods, ensure the health of all citizens, and the economic and environmental well-being of the entire community and region. And whereas parks and recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease and improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens. And whereas parks and recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of local tax base, and the attraction and retention of businesses and crime reduction. And whereas parks and natural recreation areas protect groundwater, improve water quality and air quality, and ensure a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas residents, businesses, and community organizations benefit from the wide range of parks, trails, sports fields, and other facilities and programs such as the Community Science Program, Junior Lifeguard Program, and Senior Citizens Program provided by the City of Fresno Parks After School and Recreation and Community Services Department Parks. And whereas the National Recreation and Park Association have declared the month of July as Parks and Recreation Month with the superhero theme, Discover All the Superpowers of Parks and Recreation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Mayor and City Council of the City of Fresno, urges all of its citizens to use and enjoy its parks, trails, open space facilities, and recreational opportunities, and do hereby recognize July 2016 as Parks and Recreation Month in the City of Fresno.
Again, thank you to all the staff that makes our parks work in our community.
All right, last one. Out of your way. All right. Paul, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Okay, folks, all those superheroes, it's great to have you there. In fact, I think we have an entire room full of superheroes, especially my Wesley Church congregation here. You are superheroes. Next is the proclamation for the month of June as Alzheimer's Brain Awareness Month, and sponsored by me and Member Soria. And this is kind of the best part of the day, is doing our ceremonials and enjoying all the people here in Fresno and coming forward like this. And today is kind of an emotional day for me, not only saying goodbye, not really goodbye, I'll see you later, to Pastor Vicky and her team. Receiving that check was excellent. Now we're proclaiming Alzheimer's Awareness Month. This is especially close to me. I lost my father to Alzheimer's disease, and it's heartbreaking to see such a wonderful person, not just my father, but all the victims of Alzheimer's. It's tragic to see them lose that memory, not being able to recognize their wife, their children, their grandchildren, and so I'm really glad, on a higher note, I'm glad to see there's organizations like this fighting for the cause to bring awareness to about this awful disease. It is irreversible, it's incurable, it's fatal. These tragic realities, it's very tough on everybody, and not only destroys the ability to live independently, but it affects those that are the loved ones. And for me, I just told myself every day, my father was pain-free. He was pain-free. And so there was a little silver lining in that cloud. So today, let us come together and raise awareness about Alzheimer's disease, as well as the devotion and selflessness of the thousands of caregivers that endure the financial and emotional strains of this awful disease. Antonio, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, before I do so, I would like for us to go ahead and introduce ourselves. So,
My name is Terry Segala.
Tracy Cisneros.
Arthur Cisneros.
yes, my name is Jose Ramirez, and I'm a resident here of Fresno, and I'm also a volunteer on our local Alzheimer's Association board. As a volunteer for the Alzheimer's Association of Northern California, which provides a wide variety of care and support services to the families facing Alzheimer's and other dementias in our community through our regional office that's actually located here in Fresno and North Fresno. We also provide a free 24-hour helpline that people can call at any time, day or night. And on behalf of the Alzheimer's Association, I want to thank you for this proclamation to all the council members, especially yourself and Council Member Soria, and share some basic facts about the Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's is a fatal neurological disease that kills nerve cells and tissue in the brain, affecting individuals' ability to remember and think and plan. As the disease advances, the brain shrinks dramatically due to the cell death. Individuals lose their ability to communicate, recognize family and friends, and care for themselves. Currently, there is no way to prevent, cure, or even slow Alzheimer's, and everyone who has a brain, of course, is at risk, and it just echoes what the council member said. Worldwide, there's about 47 million individuals that are living with the Alzheimer's disease, and everyone who has a brain, like I said, whoever has a brain is at risk. Alzheimer's is the most expensive disease in America and will bankrupt the nation if we don't change the course of the direction that we're currently going now. I want you to all join us on September 17 at Fresno State, because that's where we're going to have our walk to end Alzheimer's. So thank you very much for this proclamation. Hope that you can all donate and join us for that walk on September 17th. And thank you for this wonderful recognition.
Thank you very much for all you do. Member Soria?
Thank you, Council President, and I want to thank all of the board members here and the folks involved with the this Alzheimer's Association for the great work that you guys do. This issue is also very personal to me. I think last year, which I did the presentation, I shared the story about the personal impact on this disease that has on my family. My grandmother has been living with Alzheimer's for over 15 years. Today, she doesn't speak. She doesn't. She has to be fed. She's bedridden, and so it's a very, very awful disease. And then I just want to share, actually, which is much, much more tragic. Recently, my mother was just diagnosed with early onset of dementia, so very personal issue for me. And so it is great that we're here to provide awareness because it is impacting communities across the board, and then specifically Latino communities. I know that last year there was a forum to provide information to Latino communities because we don't want to talk about it. We don't think about it as a disease, but we think about it as people getting older. And, that's just kind of how it is, and it's not. My mother is only 56 years old. And so it is very, very important that we continue to educate our community, to talk about the resources available, and to make sure that we push Congress so that they do provide the financial resource to do more research to ensure that we are addressing this tremendous issue. As was just mentioned, it could bankrupt our country if we don't take care of it and begin investing today. I know that he shared some of the statistics in terms of kind of worldwide, but actually, so here in America, we have 5.4 million people living with this disease today. And one of the startling statistics that I found startling was that by mid-century, an American will develop the disease every 33 seconds. And so very startling. So 1 in every 9 people that are 65 or older has Alzheimer's. And so very, very important, an issue that we should talk about to make sure that the community members that we know have access to resources, and that we do, again, continue to push Congress to fund research to find a cure.
Thank you. Would you read the proclamation, please?
Whereas today there are more than 5 million Americans living with Alzheimer's, a figure that is expected to reach as many as 16 million by mid-century if we don't develop a cure or an effective treatment. And whereas there are currently more than 610,000 people with Alzheimer's living in the state of California, and over 2,640 of whom live in the city of Fresno and Fresno County, and an estimated 7,900 caregivers in the city of Fresno and Fresno County who are caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's. And whereas Alzheimer's is a fatal neurological disease that kills nerve cells and tissues in the brain, affecting an individual's ability to remember, think, and plan. As the disease advances, the brain shrinks dramatically, and individuals lose their ability to communicate, recognize family members and friends, and care for themselves. And whereas researchers are making great progress in developing ways to accurately diagnose and treat Alzheimer's disease, and we need to accelerate the pace of that research if we're going to have a disease-altering treatment by 2025. As called for in the National Alzheimer's Project Act. And whereas the Alzheimer's Association is making June 2016 as Alzheimer and Brain Awareness Month and asking residents of the city of Fresno to learn more about Alzheimer's and become part of the effort to combat this disease. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, Fresno City Council members, do hereby call upon the citizens of Fresno to join our efforts to raise awareness by talking about this disease and to inspire action throughout the community. Therefore, be it resolved that we, the City Council members of Fresno, do hereby proclaim the month of June 2016 to be Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month in the city of Fresno.
Congratulations.
If you'll all humor me for just one moment. So Councilmember Soria shared with you that in mid-century we're looking at every 33 seconds a new diagnosis. Currently, today, as we've been standing here, every 66 seconds, another Alzheimer's diagnosis. So the Walk to End Alzheimer's is September 17th at Fresno State. You can sign up now at alz.org/walk. And I just wanted to share with you folks and with our council back here that each year our walk has doubled over the last 4 years. We've had to move from Copper River Ranch now to Fresno State because there's just so many folks that are passionate about the disease. So I'd like to personally invite each one of you to join us at the walk, and of course all of you, right, to see what your constituents are so passionate about that even last year in the worst heat, smoke, and ash, 3,000 people showed up to support us that day. Last year we raised $305,633. That money raised in years previous has allowed us to open our own office here in Fresno to provide those supportive services. Folks like Councilmember Soria can tap into those resources. You folks can tap into those resources. We're at Alluvial and Ingram. Please come and visit us. If you have any questions about the disease, as a caregiver, as a patient, or as just someone who cares, come on out to the walk on September 17th, or feel free to visit our offices, okay? And have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. We'll be there. We'll be there, and that's Fresno State is District 4, and so of course we'll be there. Absolutely, we'll all be there.
You won't be able to miss me, really.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for the ceremonial. Thank you, sir, and keep up the good work in our community. We can't do it without each and every one of you helping us enhance our community. Thank you all very much for being here. We'll next go to the contested consent calendar.
How you doing, Sal? Great, great. It's good to see you. Take care. Hey, we're going to see you then in September?
Are you going to come and see us?
Thank you, Vice President Quintero. So I had a couple questions. I know, Mike, that we submitted these to your department, and so you had some answers for us. But I will tell you that off the bat, I'm just not very comfortable with the approach that we're taking in terms of doing this contracting. And so I don't know, maybe if you could just present a little bit of the item,
sure,
and you may address some of the questions that I had. But I do have additional questions that came up after.
Okay. Oh, well, very simply put, the contract is just for the ability to provide contract services, third party, for residential plan check for our DARM department. Now, right now, we are currently experiencing a large volume of residential plan projects. And right now, we currently have 5 plan checkers that are assigned to do that. However, 2 of those 5 are assigned to the front counter on a full-time basis during the day. So that allows those 2 don't get an opportunity to, plan check the full time. So as a result, you tend to get a backlog, and then we ended up having this contract performed last year. So that allows us to keep, the plans moving out in a somewhat reasonable rate. So what we've done in this fiscal year, this budget that the council just passed, is we incorporated 2 new plans and permit technicians. What that will do is that will allow both of those technicians to stay full-time at the front counter and allow all of our 5 technicians to do all the residential plan checks so we can keep in line with our BFF timelines that we have established a few years ago. The contract itself, we only use Interwest as a third party. We don't use it for inspections, and we only use them when we see a backlog coming. And in this particular case, we currently have a backlog now, but we also anticipate a backlog towards the end of this calendar year. And in January of 2017, we will have a new building code, and traditionally when that happens every 3 years, we always get an influx of residential plan checks towards the end of the year to beat that timeline. So we do get an influx in November and December of plan checks that we need to get out, and part of this contract will help us, get these projects through the system in a timely manner.
Okay, so I have a couple, one comments and then just some questions. So I know that we just passed a budget, last week, and in the budget, you guys incorporated that the building and safety revenues were up almost $1.6 million, so up 23 from the previous year. And then the increase in staffing, at least from what it looks like during this time, appears to be solely provided by the consultant. So I know that you guys didn't come to the council because you guys actually you guys have the authority to go out and contract with anyone when it's under $50,000. And so today you're coming to us to ask us for an additional $100,000 to continue contracting with this person. What I'm noticing, though, and what I hear from you is that there's an expectation that there is going to be more, a higher demand, and we need staffing. And so, in kind of doing my calculations, you're saying that the $50,000 provides about 440 hours for the consultants. If we look at what a full-time staff member would provide, a full-time employee would actually provide 2,080 hours. So therefore, if we look at kind of what the contract would cost, if we look at kind of by looking at a contract versus employee standpoint, it would actually be $217,400 annually to be able to provide those same type of hours. I would be much more comfortable seeing that you guys are actually expediting the hiring of additional staff to do this type of work. That's what I actually would like to see. I know that I've pointed out to the city manager, in the planning department, there is 21 vacancies. I've looked at the vacancies that are there, and from what I've asked in terms of questions, I know that you guys can convert those positions to meet the needs of the department. So I'm not comfortable today approving a contract knowing that we have all these vacancies and that it seems to me that there hasn't been an effort made to actually fill those positions. We get a lot of complaints all the time that we're not business friendly. And I get that you guys are trying to do this contract to try to expedite to address the backlog, but I feel that this is not the best approach in my perspective in terms of cost-wise. Yes, you're trying to solve the immediate need, but I think that long-term we need to really address and fill those positions so that we have a staffed up department. And I actually like to ask also the city manager, I know that Bruce isn't here, but Renee, we had, I think about a month ago, we were supposed to have a workshop on the business-friendly Fresno, and it was pulled. I'd actually like to see that come back this next month, and I'd like to table the issue to really kind of figure out what, how we can do. I'm not comfortable voting on the entire contract. I think that we need to get serious and have a plan to staff up our department to make sure that we are getting and expediting these permits and not dealing with this backlog. In terms of the funding, it seems to me that we've already appropriated in the budget. We've approved all these positions. The monies are there, and I get it. You have a backlog right now, but if we continue to backfill you and give you the opportunity to contract, where is the incentive to actually fill the full-time positions? And what I would like to see is a department with the full-time positions filled. So I'd like to actually table this issue. I cannot support it as it stands today. And I'd like to see maybe come back with a plan in place to hire full-time folks to be able to do this type of work. That's my motion to table.
Okay. Member Brandel.
Microphone's acting up here. So to follow up on Councilmember Soria, I guess if we postpone this item, I won't ask a whole bunch of questions today, but the basic question is, I mean, where do you come down on this, Mike? Do you think that we need a consultant at $50K, a consultant for 440 hours versus a Fresno City employee that would do the same job and we'd get 2,080 hours of work out of them?
Well, what this contract will do, Councilmember Brandel, is it gives us flexibility to process these applications as they come in. We certainly have every effort and every intent to hire the positions that we're approved last week in the budget. That will take a little bit of time, and we'll certainly come back and give you a schedule for that. But we believe this gives us some flexibility when we have, you know, an inundation of applications. So and we're just trying to be proactive and trying to anticipate those types of workload increases. And I believe by having this contract available, that gives us that flexibility to meet that demand as it comes forward. Now, will we meet, or we can use the entire 100,000? We don't know that yet. But it just gives us the ability to have that in the event that we need it.
Up to 100,000.
Up to 100,000, that's correct.
100,000. All right. I mean, I would love to see, really, I would love to see us develop that talent just within our own pool of employees. So I would be supportive of spending the money a little bit differently as well. But I'd like to hear more. Maybe did you call for a date when we would listen to this again, or did you just say?
Well, for the next, but I'd like to really sit down and come back with a plan, because what you just mentioned, I understand in terms of the flexibility, but you said you anticipate higher numbers at the end of the year. So that gives me the impression that where's the commitment to hire full-time staff to make sure that we don't have to do contract services? Because I think we get more bang for our buck. I just said 2,080 hours versus what we're getting in terms of, you know, for contracted services. If they're not doing plan checks, I'm sure you guys can find some other tasks for them to do. And so I think we're getting more bang for our buck if we want to really get, you know, every use that we can get out of the dollars that we're spending. I think that that's the best use. This to me, you're presenting more as a long-term flexibility. I'd like to see very short-term and get serious 60 days to hire people to be able to do and fill these jobs. And so I haven't seen that there's postings on it. So I think the city manager should come back with a plan that says in terms of the hiring and so forth, and with the lesson.
We are actually already in the process of doing those recruitments, and several of them are actually very, very close to having the panels and the interviews. What this does is, in the interim, until we can get them hired and get fully staffed, and if in case we have unexpected attrition again, it gives us the ability to be able to continue to provide that quality level of service that we want our customers to get here at the city. We are certainly doing our best effort already to not only get those positions hired, but all of the positions that the council approved last week in the budget. We also, that being said, there's also a limited capacity in our personnel department, so we can't do them all at the same time. But we definitely have staffed up in personnel to be able to address them as quickly as we can.
I just don't see this as an interim contract. You guys are saying 18 months, and so I'd like to see I'd like to see a shorter term contract with a long term plan of making sure that we're always staffed up, because I think we get more bang for our buck having full staff. So I submit to table this until you guys come back with an alternative short term contract and a plan to really staff up our department.
As long as you understand that, then we probably will not be able to meet some of our performance metrics related to BFF and the timeliness of processing those plan reviews.
How long will it take you guys we have a meeting in a couple weeks. So if you guys come back in a couple weeks, how is that going to impact
Where are we
you?
at with the existing contract?
The existing contract is currently expired, so we do need to, so right now we wouldn't be able to send services to Interwest right now. So this contract would have to be approved before we can send them any additional work.
And for the current permits that you have in the next 2 weeks, there's not enough staff to do the plan checking?
We have staff in place. We have current staff that will be processing applications.
So we won't have any backlog over the next 2 weeks?
Well, that's typical. I mean, we currently have a backlog, but there will be applications coming in as we complete others. So there'll just be a continuous submittal of applications during the next several weeks. So we just hope that, our goal is to get those out in a timely fashion, consistent with our guidelines. And as we move forward with the new hirings, as we talked about, we hope that we don't have to use the outside consultant as much. So just like I indicated, it gives us some flexibility in the event that we are backlogged.
We have one more member that wants to chime in.
Okay.
Member Quintero.
Mike, as far as the plan checks go, how far behind are we?
When I last spoke with our billing official, he indicated to me we're probably about 2 weeks behind on our normal timelines.
On our normal timelines. And what do you anticipate, or, you know, just on past history, how many more will be coming in before we get moving on hiring and that type of thing?
If we can establish that, if we can hire our 2 new positions within the next 30 to 60 days, our hope is that we can have our current inventory pretty much up to maybe only backlog by a week, or maybe even caught up. It just depends on what comes in over the next couple of weeks. Our hope is to have all our backlog removed and, you know, improving and enhancing our timelines.
Okay, so if developers come in, want their plan checks or need updates, then you got to say, well, council tied our hands in regards to getting them processed in a timely manner because we're waiting to get approval?
No, essentially what happens is when our goal is to inform developers, you know, as they submit their plans, these are your expected timelines. If those timelines aren't going to be met, our goal is to let them know right away, hey, we're going to be late 5 days or whatever it might be. At least we've communicated that to them. They know it, and while they may not be overly happy, at least they know they've got that communication from staff, and we can at least let them know on a periodic basis where their plan is at. What we don't want to do is we don't want to just have them submit plans and not talk to them, because that's not.
So when we hear from developers saying that City of Fresno's takes a long time to get their plan checks approved and this kind of thing, it has to do with our staffing to some degree, right?
In a way, in a sense, that is correct, but there's more to that story because every plan check that we have goes through a different review from various disciplines. It could be structural, mechanical, and some are more complicated than others. So, and when a staff person is gone in a certain discipline, then that plan check would have to sit till that person gets back. So it's a little bit more of a complicated process, but our goal, like I've indicated before, is to try to get them out within our prescribed time frames, and we are certainly working on methods to communicate better to the industry. Hey, your plan is on time, or it's going to be a few days late. You know, please be patient. We'll get right with you. And typically, when we make that type of communication, it's appreciated because then they know where they're at and they can plan accordingly. And we just need to make sure we do that on a much more consistent basis.
Now, I remember, you know, when we really started getting into the economic downturn, 2008, 2009, 10, we contracted out some services, didn't we, in planning, simply because we didn't have the money to hire folks so they can get some of their plans checked and that type of thing.
Back then and back in the early 2000s, we also did do some outsourcing for plan review on both the building and the planning side. That is correct.
Yeah, so I mean, it was just an economic thing that we had to do with the cutbacks because we didn't have the money to hire and then pay the benefits and that type of thing.
Also, too, when we see a spike and we don't know that it's going to be a long-term situation, we don't want to hire folks to then have to turn around and lay them off if we have a decline in the economy.
Exactly. So is this, would you say that the need for these monies, is it a time-sensitive item? I mean, can it wait the 2 weeks or?
It can wait the 2 weeks, but customer service will be impacted during that 2 weeks.
Okay, so I'd like to submit to you guys. So if you are saying that there will be some impacts in the next 2 weeks, I would say the only thing that I would be comfortable is.
I still have the floor.
That's correct.
Thank you. So okay, so we're not really in a time crunch right now, or yes, or?
No, we are in a time crunch because we do want to climb out of the hole that we're in, and we want to get projects back on track. We want to be delivering quality levels of service, and this contract would help us attain that.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Member Quintero. Just one procedural question at a tabling status. What's the process for that, City Attorney?
Tabling or continuing an item can either be to a date certain or it can be indefinite.
Does it take a vote of the council?
It would take a vote unless there's a consensus that all agree to postpone it.
Thank you very much. Member Soria.
So the only thing that I was going to suggest, given the comments that were made from the questions raised by Councilmember Quintero, was so that we don't further delay. I would say 90 days up to 13,000, because if you divided up the contract, that gives us enough time to hopefully hire and gives us that incentive to make sure that we're going through the hire. If you need more money, come back and then we will evaluate then. But I think that since you guys are already in the process of hiring, hopefully within the next 60 days. And so that's, I would say, a contract for 90 days so that we don't continue to have this backlog of permits. So rather than tabling, that would be my motion, 90 days up to 13,000, so that any plan checks that need to be put through the process are still able to go through the process, but that we do during that 90-day period look at really seriously filling those positions. So that would be my motion.
Could you restate that, please?
So my motion would be that we move forward with an amended contract of a 90-day period up to 13,000. I think they're here because we're over the $50,000 limit. So 90 days, and hopefully within that 90-day period, you're able to fill those positions to be able to address the issues.
Okay. Member Quintero?
City Manager, what do you get for 13,000 for 90 days?
I think that's a good compromise. I mean,
Okay.
I think it allows us to be able to continue to provide the customer service and address the backlog. So
Okay.
when we do get positions filled, then they can come in and we can continue to maintain. So that's
Okay,
good.
thank you.
Screen is clear. I have a motion. Is there a second?
That was my modifying my original motion. So do you still second?
So your motion is to continue, not to table. Can you, I'm
The
not sure.
modification would be to take a vote on an agreement for 90 days up to 13,000 to be able to address, the issues that we have right now. And then hopefully they hire during the 90-day period.
So your motion is to...
If I could jump in, Council, I understand the motion to table has been withdrawn, and now there is a motion to approve the item, but only for 90 days and fund it up to $13,000.
Is that... Okay. There's a motion. Is there a second? Second by Member Brandel. All those in favor? Opposed? Passes 5-0. Members Baines and Brand absent. Thank you, Michael, for your presentation. Okay, that would conclude. I don't believe there's any closed session items. We've done unscheduled communication, so I think we've done our business this day. Thank you all for being here and participating, and we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you again.